All right, we are live, and the New York Mets are facing some of the best and worst teams in baseball. We are in the midst of this very, very weird stretch here, and with all that comes anger, getting a little hot and heated. Speaking of which, we have a special guest on the pod today. We have Rico Bosco coming in, filling in for KFC. And if you, to go along with all the different joys of life during this, now that we're unofficially in summertime, you have your barbecues, you have your parties, you have your vacations, you have all this kind of stuff with your family. You still have to work, you're sending the kids camp, whatever it may be. You got to reach for a Coors Light to keep yourself cool during all these times. And if the Mets are losing games against the good teams, you're mad because they're not beating the teams that they're competing against for the standings. And if they lose to the bad teams, they have to beat those bad teams. So grab yourself a Coors Light. We got to believe it's presented by Coors Light, where you're juggling work, family, and life in general. It's easy to feel the pressure, but that doesn't mean we have to lose our chill. Besides, you never know when life's inconveniences could turn into a great story you could tell later with a Coors Light in your hand. Again, we have Mets baseball. We have the kids are home 4 days in a row this weekend. There's plenty of Coors Lights being drank then, along with Knicks basketball, which we'll be discussing maybe for the last time of the season on this pod at the end. So that's when I'm drinking my Coors Light. So Mets fans, choose chill this season and then reach for a Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door. Visit CoorsLight.com/believe, or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. All right, fellas, we are back and we are ready to roll. And I got Bosco on the show. We tried to have him on a couple weeks ago, but it's hard with Diablos because Bosco, he always knows he's on the unnamed radar, which, again, you called it today. You knew you were going to get called on, basically. And obviously, Pick Central, him and Phil are on Pick Central, and sometimes those timelines overlap. But
Nick streams, yeah, for sure. Let me open with this. I know it's your show.
Go for
it. Off that Coors Light ad, Terry Tangents. Barbecues for sure in the summer, like big time thing. The big 3 weekends: Memorial Day, 4th of July, Labor Day. Yeah, Labor Day. Father's Day in the summer as well.
Yes.
Trying to think. Shore houses, like when you're a kid. So you look at all the things of when you list out summer, like where, importance, or think like what's in the starting lineup if you're doing a batting order. They just did it on Dog Walk, things that deserve more respect. What about graduation parties? Nothing better than like, oh, I got a nephew now who's graduating, or a cousin. Oh, he's got a graduation. On a nice Saturday, you go to a house with a pool. At 5, it's perfect time, usually 6, 7 o'clock. Crack a Coors Light. Like there's games on. NBA Finals are around, those different type of things. High school graduation, college graduation. Like, where's the respect for graduation parties here?
Bosco, I'm with you 100%. It's also like, this is also, I mean, it's a little later or a little, I guess it's a little earlier than the summertime usually. When you're dealing with like religious things, your communion, confirmation, you have to go to like church for an hour. You have to dress all nice. Graduation parties is just a different vibe, different energy. And let's be honest, like the kids, they're thinking out because like there's the adult party, right? The parents and the family and friends. And then once that goes, late night is when the kids are getting crazy. And for me, at least, some of my fondest memories are the graduation parties after high school and college. That's like that's
Bro,
graduation
even
season.
I'll be honest, even 8th grade graduation parties.
Yes.
That was
they didn't call it graduation,
like,
they call moving up ceremonies.
You get to, it's like, whatever. You might go, like, you have fun, whatever. You get a nice shirt, you have some money in your pocket from graduation, you're away from your parents for like 3-4 hours. It's unbelievable. I'll finish you with this. One of the graduation parties I was at, college, I'm pretty sure it was his uncle or a friend of a friend. The guy I think his name was Kenny. It was like Crazy Kenny. And we're playing beer pong or something like that. And somebody goes, "Hey, Kenny, did you play beer pong in college?" He takes a drag of his cigarette and goes, "Nah, we were getting laid in college." I was like, all right, like, way to dunk on us. Like, unbelievable. One of the best one-liners I've ever heard. So graduation parties, bro, the best. And the best graduation party movie of all time, Can't Hardly Wait.
Oh,
Can't Hardly Wait.
You're preaching to the choir here, my friend. Again, I actively root against 10 Things I Hate About You. I think, did you draft that in the dog walk draft? There was a dog or a draft where that got mentioned, and I root against it because I always thought you had to choose one between Can't Hardly Wait and 10 Things I Hate About You.
I say different kind of movies.
Yeah, they are different kinds of movies, but in my dumb brain, I always had them competing, even though I shouldn't have. So, I like the Bosco. I like how we could just mix things up with some Bosco talk on here.
I mean, it's summertime. Coors
On the
Light,
flip side of that, I'm dealing with a lot of 1-year-old birthday parties, and my rant is that you're taking away my summer Saturday with a 1-year-old birthday party. I did the math. There's like 17 Saturdays between late Memorial Day and through September, and I had to dedicate it to a 1-year-old's birthday party. Is insane to me. And I have a baptism, my son's baptism this Sunday. So at least I did a Sunday. At least that's a day where it's like you get free food, you get to relax, and then you go home.
Yeah. And you have like a dinner. So it's like, 4 p.m., 5 p.m., you're home, you're fed, you eat well.
Get your Italian hero on your way. There you go. Thanks for stopping by.
I mean, fuck it. Let's just steer into this a little more. What are we saying here? We saying the big three, I think, is barbecue. You're getting some Italian catering, or you're getting some sort of long sandwich, right? That's kind of the big three for a party during the summer. Or that's all three, a little smattering of all three, right?
That's the most elite takeaway / next day after a party, too.
Yeah, in the last
just for a week.
Maybe it's from like, when you started living. I moved in late with my wife. We didn't live together, dating obviously early on. But we moved in right before we got married, and then you start being married, living by yourself, cooking for yourself. An underrated one, bro, is I call it pasta 5,000 because there's 5,000 different ways to make it. The cold pasta salad with the Italian dressing, fresh mutts, chicken, pepperoni, peppers. You can always throw like some Italian seasoning in there. And it's honestly better the next day when it's been in that Tupperware bowl, soaking in the Italian dressing, and then you throw a little bit more on there, recook it, pepper jack cheese. Like, yeah. Pasta salad does not get enough respect in the summer as well.
And you have the Italian version and then the Greek version where you throw the feta and the peppers in it.
Yeah, we don't do feta here, but I respect it.
I've never been a mayo guy, so when they used to slop it in mayo in like the 80s, I was like, no, thank you. Now that we've evolved to the Italian, I get to the point where I text my buddy and go, hey, has Jess started making the pasta salad for the summer yet? Just in case I happen to be in Saratoga, I might stop by and make a plate, for myself. So I think we're all there right now. I bet the Phil household, the Meek Phil household, probably had some nice parties back in the day when young Philip was, moving up in the Catholic world, or going from school to school. I could see them throwing a nice little party there.
Well, every summer we used to actually have a pig roast near the 4th of July.
We did that last summer.
Yeah,
pig roast.
Yeah.
Oh. Goodness gracious.
All right, I'll give you one. Now we're going completely off the deep end. My brother had a shore house with friends of friends that got added in or something like that. And their gimmick was like in the end of June, they were like, hey, mark the date. The August 4th of July party. Grandma Ginny's August 4th of July party. And they're like, wait, what's going on? And the reasoning was, who doesn't love another 4th of July? You just have it on August 4th. They had tank tops and everything. Grandma Ginny's August 4th of July party.
I'll tell you, I'm sold on that. Are you trying to tell me that they weren't still celebrating the 4th of July?
No, they definitely did. This was a bonus. Yeah,
they were still partying, man. You fucking kicked the Brits out. These guys are probably partying until like fucking Christmas, and then they roll it into Christmas. So shout out Aunt Ginny.
Aunt Ginny, Grandma Ginny. Grandma Ginny.
Shout out Grandma Ginny. So yeah, get yourself your Coors Lights and sit for any barbecues, graduation parties, or what there may be, or watch some Mets games. So we had the Dodgers series, which kind of got lost in the shuffle, I feel, because there was Knicks fever going on in town, obviously.
Memorial Day weekend, 100%.
Yes, exactly. And then the White Sox series, which got lost in the shuffle because no one gives a fuck and you have to beat the White Sox. This isn't the same White Sox. This isn't your older brother by 1 year, the White Sox from last year, who were the worst team in baseball. That's the team we're facing next, and we're going to be getting into that Coors Light. We're talking the Rockies right there. We're going to get Meek Phil's scouting on the Rockies, which will be like they're absolutely terrible, I imagine. That Dodgers series, all it did for me personally was it was like when I needed a Band-Aid for the Knicks, it gave me the Band-Aid for the Knicks. It would have been nice if they didn't lose that 13-inning game on Friday night after the Knicks had lost, but they fucking took care of business on Sunday, and at least they won 2 out of 3, and we can look forward from that. Kyle, how did you feel after that Dodgers series?
I think it further reaffirmed that our pitching staff is actually good, because up until this point, I feel like everyone's been chirping us that we haven't played anybody and we're just getting by and we're only throwing 4 or 5 innings. Everybody's going deep Griffin Canning aside, everyone's going deep into the games now. Like David Peterson, you could pencil him in for 6 innings every start now, which is great. I think that was the biggest takeaway. And then it kind of like put a Band-Aid on the fact that our offense is fucking terrible right now. So we were able to beat one of the best teams in baseball without having any hits and leaving 1 million base runners on base. So at least we took 2 out of 3 from them.
All right, to the young Philip who's out there battling the LA trolls we don't even know exist on the internet. How are you feeling, Phil? And you're facing up all the MLB trolls too out there.
I mean, it reaffirmed that like we are a good team. You could take 2 out of 3 from the Dodgers. We took 2 out of 3 from the Cubs earlier in the month.
Yep.
We honestly just played better at home. I guess that's just what we are.
Yeah, we're a fucking awesome home
And
team. That's another lesson.
And I mean, like I said, 4-2 versus the Dodgers and White Sox. You sign up for that. Like if I would have told you, like, oh, we lost the Dodgers series, but swept the White Sox, I'd be like, ah, that's fine. Like it's baseball. We're gonna lose a game to the White Sox. That happens. You won the series.
Yep. So right now we are 5th in the league in differential right now, and I think we lead the league in wins from home. I'm looking right now. Yeah, we just ahead of the Cubs. The Tigers have 1 more game and they lost, so we're 21-7 at home, which is Citi Field. It's actually crazy. I was looking for tickets the other day, and I think it was for Father's Day, and there's not a lot. There are a lot of sellouts coming up, or for the most part. Bosco, what's your general thoughts on the Mets right now? I won't have you go game by game, but I mean, this last week, Dodgers take care of business against them, and then 2 out of 3 against the White Sox. Like, you just have to take that. You can't look for sweeps every fucking game.
Did I freeze?
You froze for a sec. You're good now.
Oh, okay. I'm still frozen on my end, but I'm back. All right, here we go. First takeaway. Correct me if I'm wrong. None of those games on Memorial Day weekend were on SNY or picks.
Correct.
Yeah, it should be illegal.
Yes, agreed. Cosign.
Illegal. Can't not have the guys on for 3 straight days. Just not feasible. Like you can't. We have the best broadcast. That's half the fun. Yeah, it's weird. It's like, because obviously I'm coming in from the tournament. So when opening day was during the Sweet 16 and the Elite 8, like you check in on the Mets and you're watching, but then the Knicks started dominating every night. So the Mets were really in the back end. Obviously, I've liked what I've seen from the pitching staff. Soto obviously needs more help. Pete's doing really great. Obviously, Lindor's a leader. Like I would like some more pieces down the lineup. Like I do worry about us competing with the Dodgers in an arms race. I know we just beat them, but Dodgers are really fucking good. But it's weird. Like we're in a weird spot as a fan. You don't want to get like ahead of yourself and anything could happen. But it's kind of nice to not have to like live and die with every night in the sense of that it could make our season that we're going to get left out by 1 game. And again, like, don't get me wrong, we fell back in the division, but like, it's a pretty safe bet we'll be okay to get into the playoffs. This will be old takes exposed. And then from there, it's like, where you're going, like you're going to have a pesky Central team, maybe the Phillies again or whatever. And then it's hopefully win that and you're going back to the Dodgers. So it's a weird spot that, like, again, the Mets have never made the playoffs like consecutive seasons or like once in my lifetime. I don't count 2016 because we lost the playing game. But now it's like you're expected to make the playoffs. So we're in like a good spot. When you have the Knicks obviously rival on that, like as Mets and Knicks fans, Giants are obviously in the toilet, but we just got a nice quarterback. Like it's been a while, Clem. You probably relate to this being an older guy. It's been a while since like you've had a good run. I was talking to Gaz about it, on the flip side. I'm like, when was the last spring or summer where you guys weren't running into June, at least one way or the other, between the Celtics or the Bruins, like for most years, they were juggling too. They were flipping that parquet to ice pretty quick. So like, we've never had that. It's nice. Again, we haven't won a championship, but it's nice to be in the mix with our teams. That's really all you can ask.
We just have a good team. It's good to have a good team. And what makes us a good team is I think you would say like the month of May, they've been like, you feel like they've had a bad month. They're 13-12 with like a 3+ run differential. If that's their bad month, you're going to be a good team.
Right.
It just so happens every time we run into something like that, the Phillies go 9-1. I'm done looking at the standings though.
You can't do that in May.
Because the wild card went to an actual series, like I don't give a shit. Like we just have to get into the playoffs.
You can't look at standings in May. I think 4th of July is like the barometer of like, okay, now things starting to get real. Even at that point, just get into the fucking playoffs.
There should be like a plugin where if you go to the standings in May, it just says, nope, come back July 4th. Like your fucking Chrome, someone has to fucking make that for us. I actually did put up the standings though, because I saw the Phillies are ahead, 2 games ahead. There's 3 things 22 did to me. 1, don't ever believe in the magical season where you just everything magical happens and it's going to continue to the postseason. 2015 should have taught me that, because that was the most World Series winning team in a fucking Disney movie that I've ever seen, and they lost in 5. 2, it told me not to fucking live tweet every fucking game and emotion you have during a baseball season, every pitch. It's fucking stupid, and to like live and die with it, it's just not worth your time. And Twitter just sucks in general now. And then 3, like you said, standings. I'm done standings watching. I'm done scoreboard watching. Last week of the season, if you need to win to get in or whatever it may be, kind of what we did last year, then you could do it. Until then, I'm fucking personally done with it. And Bosco, this is what I want. I want my teams to continue those June runs, but the winter sports, especially the Knicks. And then I want pool days. Is that what you call it? What do you call in the Mets when they're just up 6-2? You're like, oh, go in the pool for the day. Pool game. That's what I'm looking for here. And honestly, if the offense starts hitting, I think we're going to have some pool games this summer. I think we'll have a good amount of pool games. And if you're going to worry about the Phillies, and God, the Braves are going to fucking be heard from because they're assholes. If you're going to worry about that, that's the way you want to spend your summer, you can. I'm going to be fucking bowl of fucking pasta salad, Coors Light in my hand. That's how I want to spend my summers, next to the pool. That's how you should be spending them.
Even this Memorial Day, Keith was happy to be off. He was the only one on the broadcast who was like, I'm good. But like, I just pulled up Howie on my phone. I was like, I'm not going to sit in front of the TV when it's a nice long weekend that you can get out of the house and not have to worry about the Mets. You just listen to them on their phone on the radio.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing is we have a great radio broadcast as well. We should be listening. The goal is this summer to be listening to more games on the radio than you're watching Living and Dying.
Correct. I like that.
With Armando Benitez walking 3 guys in a 4-run lead, and like, here we go. You know what I mean? Like we've had enough of those. Franco pitching hungover on Sundays. Like we've had enough of those.
I say treat yourself to some Howie days.
Exactly.
They could do that, but now that I'm thinking about it, on actual Memorial Day itself, my dad did have the Mets up on his phone, and we're motherfucking them to death because it's 1-0 White Sox, and that's just no way to live your life. It's just no way to live your life. And listen, they're going to drive you mad, right? They're going to drive you mad no matter who they play. But just throw it. It does seem easier when you're listening to Howie than when you watch it. So I think
you paint the picture in your head. It's not as bad.
Yeah,
you're not watching them fuck up a million calls because the umpires suck this season.
Yeah. So another thing you can do is, if instead of listening to Howie or watching on TV, you can go to the game. And how do you go to the game? You go through Game Time. Baseball is back. There's nothing like getting to a baseball game, especially last minute. Lucky for me, I always use Game Time, the official ticketing partner of Barstool Sports. Game Time makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the app actually go down the closer it gets to Game Time. I was looking at tickets for Mets Rockies this weekend, so weather's a little tricky. However, looks like Sunday is going to be pretty nice. You got yourself a 140 game, and they're doing Hello Kitty bobbleheads all 3 days this weekend. So if you're going Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, it is going to be craziness getting these bobbleheads. But if you go early, you get your bobblehead, and your odds are the Mets should win. I'm not going to promise they can, because God knows there's a reason this podcast exists, and we call it We Gotta Believe. But the Mets are facing a bad team, and then they're going to go on the road. You're going to miss them. So go to Rockies at Mets. I'm looking right now. $38 seats on the Pepsi porch. I love the Pepsi porch. That might have been my favorite spot when we had Barstool. The ballpark was the Pepsi porch. $38 includes the fees right there. Row 3, Pepsi porch, $305. Can't go wrong with that. Sunday, 140. Go take the family out. Like I said, tickets are getting harder and harder to get at the Mets game. So getting a deal like that is absolutely incredible. So you can put those savings back in your pocket and spend them at the ballpark on a hot dog, a new hat, or some good old-fashioned Cracker Jacks. So what are you waiting for? I'm going to buy my Mets Rockies tickets now with Game Time. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code BELIEVE for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code BELIEVE for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. What time is it? Game time. So we were talking about our boy Lindor and how much we love him. And a new article from The Athletic came out today basically saying that he goes around and just checks in on all his teammates. After each series, he'll have a conversation with everyone in the locker room at some point, win or lose. And they say He's talking about, you know, how they're doing, brings up old conversations. It's not just, this is just, I guess, based on conversations that with other people. Francisco's not telling them how great he is, but he'll kind of like relay stuff from like stuff they had talked about, you know, earlier last week, month ago, year ago, whatever. And he's just kind of keeping everybody, you know, just checking up on them, which leadership can do. So Bosco, I feel like you're a big fan of leadership, you know, some Tony Soprano kind of stuff, head of the org chart. Don't you just love to see this about our shortstop who was booed mercilessly by his fans like a year ago at this time?
Yeah, I love it. And I think Pete is a leader in the clubhouse. Like, I'm sure he's definitely got the ears of guys and he's respected and he's been there the longest and stuff like that. But he's like, let's be honest, he's not the guy who's going to want the attention. We've kind of seen that. Like, he doesn't love all the shit falling on him. Like, hey, Pete, you're the captain. Is he the captain? He's named captain, right?
Nobody's the captain. Lindor's the unofficial captain. Lindor's
exactly, yeah. So Pete's been there, so I thought they might have, whatever. But again, we ain't the Yankees. Like, we don't do captain. You don't need it. You have a leader, and that's what it is. So Pete's not gonna be the guy who wants all of that. Like, hey, you know, it's your team. Like, what are you doing to fix guys? What are you doing? He just wants to worry about himself. He's had his own struggle, and that's not a bad thing. He's had his own struggles as well. Like, you got to make sure Pete gets going. So let him worry about whatever. And now Lindor, I think, is taking the brunt of this because he's been around a long time. Like, I love it. It helps Pete. It helps Lindor. It helps everybody else. Like, I obviously love it.
I do think being like bilingual, being able to talk to the Spanish guys and have that rapport, and then also you're talking obviously with all the other guys in the locker room. Lindor's already had his he's been able to put up the numbers. Last year, he was second in MVP. I think if the guy who won MVP didn't pitch like years earlier, he might have won the MVP, but everyone still thinks that guy pitched. I'm not even going to that right now. He won the World Series. Good for him. Good for the Dodgers. All that kind of stuff. I still think Francisco Lindor was more important to his team at the end of the day than that guy. If you take him off, I think everything completely changes. I'm not going to bring up stuff from last year. Kyle, talk about Francisco Lindor before I talk myself into any more here.
I think he is like the ultimate redemption story, so it like plays into it even further that like he came here, he thought he was going to be the face, we didn't accept him right off the bat because he had such a slow start, to then come full circle, have these big iconic home runs. I think, and I don't know for sure, but it just seems like it should line up that way, is that you have the David Wright retirement coming up. He's the last captain the Mets have had. It should just be like a natural progression of like, as soon as you retire his number, he's already in town. Have him be the one who announces the next Mets captain if it's going to be Lindor. I think Nimmo thinks he's the captain in that sense because he's the only like tenured guy from 2015. You can't be the captain when you're hitting 200 and like you think you're a home run hitter. When honestly, at least they moved him to the 2 spot. Now he's starting to get back to his own game where he's walking and spraying the ball all over the place. But it's a foregone conclusion. And if you're going to have a guy who like Steve and Alex love him, he's a family man. You know he's not going to get into any bullshit. Like, all of the intangibles are there on top of the fact that he's one of the best shortstops ever, if you look at the numbers. It sounds ridiculous to say, but when you break down the numbers, you're like, this is going to be the guy who you're going to look back years from now and say, that's the best shortstop the Mets have ever had.
Yeah.
It all lines up together. I think he should be the captain. He's doing everything he needs to. It's just a matter of if they're going to do it.
I like that symmetry there. Phil, do you think they should or will name Lindor captain when it's all said and done?
I mean, I don't even think it really matters all that much. All that matters is if the guys in the locker room know who the captain is. I don't think you need it in writing.
Mm-hmm.
That's just my take.
No,
I think maybe fans just want it just so it's like something to brag about, but like it really doesn't matter that much.
Keith was captain, John Franco, David Wright.
Yeah.
I mean, fuck, those were good years. It's like almost like, do you do it just to get the – actually, no, I think Wright got named the captain after everything started falling apart. If memory serves right.
Well, no, the team started getting better. It was just – and he fell apart.
Yeah. There was actually – I don't know if you guys saw this. Trevor May did a YouTube video about, like, LOL Mets and, like, the whole genesis of it. And, I mean, like, as a dire Mets fans, there's, like, some you're like, oh, no, he's missing this, missing that. If you go in without, like, a fine-tooth comb – it was actually pretty good. It's pretty interesting. So I would suggest he had Frank the Tank as part of his thumbnail. So I had to click it just to see if Frank was involved at all. Frank,
I mean, he had to be. Like, the guy's biting his shirt over fucking 12 games over 500, talking about losing the aggregate score of a series. Like, this is like the Premier League.
Did he say that?
Yes.
You said that during the Knicks stream about they were going to lose the aggregate. I go, oh, Frank, you have your fucking thing to complain about if they lose. He actually brought it up, huh?
Yes.
I need it. So what's the temperature tank on Frank right now? Is he?
He's tank. Like he's not going to be happy. He said bare minimum went 5 out of 6 versus the Rockies and White Sox. Well, let's say they sweep the Rockies in like two of those games in one run. You'd be like, well, they didn't play well enough.
Yeah.
I'm actually going. We speak of game. I'm going Saturday.
Are you?
Big family outing. Yeah.
Nice. Hello, you going to go early for the Hello Kitty bobblehead?
Nah, I was kind of upset that it was like the one game I'm probably going to this year. I'm like, Hello Kitty, fucking like.
You might be able to pay for like 3 months mortgage if you sell it though. I mean, like that's the kind of
really.
I think it's going to be the reason they have it 3 days in a row. I think is due to the demand. But are you going to? Then you got to go early with the family, which means you're at the ballpark that much longer with the kids, unless you plan on.
Well, no, it's a family like.
Extended family?
Yeah, family who could piss by themselves type outing.
That's a good outing to go to.
Yeah, it is. Wow. All right. So yeah, it's a it kind of full circle. Wedding tomorrow night, Met game Saturday if it happens with the rain. And then Sunday is a baptism as well. So like loaded weekend. Damn, the Hello Kitty's gonna go big, huh?
Do me this favor, Bosco, any of the one watching, listening. Friday night, check eBay to see how much they're going for being listed as. And then if it's crazy, you make your plans for Saturday based on that.
Yeah, I love that.
I'm going tomorrow, so now that you're saying that, I might have to grab a couple.
I don't want to like oversell this, but I just feel like there can't be a coincidence that Hello Kitty and Mets and like I feel like those stadium things are rare enough for people. Kyle, when we were at the Mets game, that guy that kid wanted to buy the Edwin Diaz bobblehead off of me. Yeah. So I was like, sorry, buddy, this is for my kid right here. I can't be giving this one away. But it is one of those things that might be Hello Kitty's like so much bigger than I could. Phil, back me up. And you're on the internet, right? Is Hello Kitty like massive still? I feel like
yes, it is very massive. Hello Kitty will never die.
Hello Kitty will never die. That's the one thing to take away from this show. And like Francisco Lindor never died. We're gonna go back to the Soto the worry meter. I don't know what we're going to call it. We have to come up with something. We decided that instead of Lindorks, for all the people that hated our beautiful King Francisco Lindor, the Sohos are the people who are just shitting on Juan Soto. And listen, that's within the fan base. The Yankee fans, the fucking idiot talking heads on the radio and the people writing the newspaper headlines, they have to do that for clicks. I understand. But, and the Yankee fans are doing it to like soothe their ego because the Yankees have never signed a big free agent for someone else. Inside the fan base, I kind of hate it. You say here Soto will be fine. What's your like worry when like with Soto long term this year? I mean, I think when he comes up to the plate now, we're all not really expecting the best. We're kind of hoping for the best, but you don't want to have the worst with like a inning-ending double play. But where do you stand on like on Soto right now?
I mean, dude, it's a long season. He's a fucking superstar. Like, I think, honestly, like, it's going to sound crazy, but how many years we signed him for? 10?
15.
15? Okay. So that's even crazy. Like, you are never going to get the true value for a guy for 15 years because it's just how it goes. Like, it can't possibly happen. You're overpaying to get him to be a star for what you hope is 6 or 7. You know, like that's, and in an 8-year deal, you're hoping for 4. In a 10-year deal, you're hoping for 5. Like, it's just the way it goes. So, yeah, it kind of hurts that in one of his prime earning years, he's not a star right now, but it's a long season. He's not performing like a star. It's a long season, and he could have some massive, massive at-bats in October. And at that point, like, that's what you paid for. So, like, don't worry about it. You know, like, we're locked in. You ain't trading him. You ain't releasing him. He's with us for 15 years. Like, there's no need to every time the car needs a fucking oil change to be like, I'm selling this fucking thing. Like, relax. You got it for a long time. We're locked in. It's better to go easy on it and try to get the most you can out of it. You know, and I do think he'll deliver in big spots. We've seen he's a fucking animal, bro. He's so good. Like, he'll be all right. That's where it's at. You know, he'll be all right.
And that's the thing. I think everything kind of came to a head where he was struggling a little bit. The Yankee series came. He didn't do anything. That was going to be the biggest story in baseball, no matter what. And then we got this stat today. Kyle sent it. It was from NOIM Stats, which I think This was from May 27th, so it didn't include yesterday's game. Last 14 games, he has a 137 average, 281 on base percentage, 438 OPS, one double, no home runs, and his OPS has now gone from 891 to 770. So the OPS not being there, I'm sure the Baseball Savant page is all still fucking red, beat red. It's like he's in the 99 percentile for so many things. But like worry meter for going balls scale, I mean, I'm like just like a 1.5. Like then you start worrying, is it getting in his head, and is it going to just manifest itself for a little while longer? I think the Mets fans have actually been on their best behavior so far in terms of booing and going crazy. I think we've learned our lesson with Lindor. I'll go back to Phil to get his take on that.
As long as the team's winning, it can't be more than like a 1. Like you're 12 games over 500. That's why I keep saying it's like, would you rather have 1,000 OPS, but the Mets are 500, or rather have him scuffling like this and be 12 games over? Like it's an easy choice.
He's hitting 224. We're relying on him for all of the RBIs, and he has basically none of them. And then Pete's hitting behind him and crushing the baseball. Like if anyone else cools down and he gets even moderately hot, then this lineup is just stacked. Dude,
the month of May, like these are our top 3 hitters for the month of May. Minimum 5 plate appearances. 1, Jesse Winker, who's out for God knows how long. I'm going by OPS. 2, Luis Torrens is a 908 OPS this month. We can get into the catching later. Brett Beatty's third with 889. Jared Young, 873. He just came up. And then everyone else is like about average or below average.
Yeah, his teammates haven't done much. Like you see all the stats. Lindor hasn't done this in this many games, and Pete hadn't hit a home run in that many games. So it's like not even like those guys have been able to hide the Soto struggles for the last couple weeks. But I mean, I personally think everything's going to be fine. And if not, like Oscar, you said it perfectly. We didn't sign Juan Soto to come out and crush in April and May and win the Yankee Subway Series. We came
in October.
Yeah. In October, when you're like, last year, we're like, all right, we need Jesse Winker to get here. That Jesse Winker now becomes Juan Soto. And just the feeling you have inside, because every pitch means the fucking world to you. The feeling I have when Juan Soto comes to the plate should be pretty fucking good. And that's those, like you said, we have him for 15 years and it's going to be 15 to 10. It's like we almost bought him for like, we pay him for like 300 at bats in October. And if he comes through in those, we aren't going to give a fuck about anything else. Right. Just like with the Knicks. If Cat led him to the championship, no one will care if he had a good regular season. Or if Bridges, everyone forgot Bridges' terrible regular season when he was shutting down Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown in the last second of the Celtics series.
For 164 games last year, Pete Alonso with runners in scoring position came up as a dud almost every time. Then one at bat in Milwaukee made you forget about all those failures.
Yeah. So hopefully it's more of the same. Bosco, have you followed Luis Torrens at all? Has he been on your radar at all with the Mets backup catcher? Because he is kind of becoming Alvarez is in the like former Golden Boy prospect who's struggling, and now Torrens, who we got for the Yankees for $100,000, is looking like our fucking guy right now. I don't know if you've seen that at all, but
Torrens early. I liked what I saw. Obviously, I was telling my dad. My dad was like, I think Alvarez is in trouble when he comes back. Like I would just roll with Torrens. So, I mean, it's always good to have a second. Like catchers get banged up. Alvarez can seem lost at the plate for stretches. Like, I don't hate it. Like it's I like what I've seen out of Torrens. It's good to have a backup option. I don't think he's going to be, hitting fucking 300, 400 at any point. But like when he has to sub in, it's good to have a guy who we trust for sure.
Yeah. And we're no longer a green light for base runners, which is nice as well. Even if he didn't hit, I would have been fine with that. I mean, our boy Tomas Nido, we were talking ourselves into because he was a nice guy and he would occasionally come through with a hit there. So, I mean, Phil, like, do you think is it the approach or something? Like, it feels like it's
entirely the approach. I don't remember the last time he's pulled the ball in the air. It's literally been 2 fucking years of this, and maybe it's the hand injuries, maybe it's mental. But, like, it's got to be a 50-50 time split at this point between him and Torrens.
It's a testament to Mendoza that he's going with the hot hand and like, he has the ability to do that where he's not going to, like, alienate anybody in the clubhouse.
Yeah, exactly.
I think Mendoza is, like, the perfect guy to juggle the egos and stuff like that. And, I mean, Gary Cohen said after they hired him last year, he's like, no, this is going to be the next great manager in Mets history. And that Gary Cohen does not give away like compliments like that on a guy they just hired. So he must have showed him something. And then obviously the 2024 season, which they talked about in that Trevor May video. He talked about it. And I was like, holy shit, man. Like, I can't believe that. Like, he's like, then 2024 happened. And I'm like, that was last year. Like, it feels like it was either a day ago, and it feels like it was like 10 years ago at this point. At the same time, it was a very unique season, but man, that was so fucking magical, dude. So yeah, I don't know what to do. Did you see that they had the spray chart with Alvarez, or the hit chart and the heat chart, and everyone's throwing him low and away now, and he can't hit low and away. So it's like he's gonna have to learn to hit that, and then maybe they'll come back inside and he can pull it. But until he figures that out, I feel like he's just gonna have to live with that, right? Or they make a mistake.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, I hope they miss.
Like,
they walk him.
Yeah,
they got him out and fishing over the plate, and then he can't be quick inside, and there goes his power, and then he's just hitting ground balls up the middle.
He is one of those guys where when he gets hit by the pitch, you're like, all right, like as long as he's not hurt, like he's on first. I tweeted this. I think I was actually on that Memorial Day. I think he got the hit. I think there's I couldn't even name them because I don't follow baseball enough to even know who plays each position and every team. I think I would probably take 3 center fielders over Tyrone Taylor right now. He's so good at defense. He throws guys out at the plate. He's fucking obviously great in the field, like running the ball down. And he comes up big almost every single time. It's truly David Stearns might be his greatest fucking signing, which is saying something, obviously. So moving forward now, we have Rockies Dodgers up on the schedule here. Dodgers, we'll start with the Dodgers first, just because there's really not much to talk about. We just faced them. We are not facing their one good pitcher, as Phil told me the other day. It's basically Yamamoto and then 4 days of crossing your fingers. It's next week, June 2nd. It starts on Monday. 3 10-10 games and then a 4-10 game. So us family men, probably not going to be up for the whole game if we even make it that far. When the Knicks are still playing, it might be easier, but it's going to be kind of tough for that. It's McGill, May, Canning, Kershaw, Peterson, Gonsolin, Senga, Knack. So, I mean, we faced 3 of those guys already. Really not much to add. We know what the Dodgers are. It's the one team we know because we fucking just faced them in the NLCS. However, we have these 3 at home here. Kyle's going on Friday, Bosco on Saturday. I guess I'm going on Sunday with my game time tickets. Peterson, Freeland, Sangin, Senzatella, and then Holmes, Palmquist. Those 3 pitchers do not exist. Actually, I know Kyle Freeland. He was 0-7 with a 5.86 ERA. Let's look it up.
Yeah, I think Marty got a hit off him, so that says a lot.
Oh, no, that's one of the guys Marty got a hit off.
He either got a hit. Yeah, actually, no, he did get a double off him down the line. So
a double? Oh,
yeah.
God. All right. You can't lose that game. That is a must-win game. It's our first must-win game of the season.
They are on pace to be the worst team in baseball history. 26 wins. That would shatter what the White Sox did last year. They've lost 21 series in a row dating back to last year, a major league record. So there's a lot of pressure on us to win this series.
I'm never the guy to say that you have to sweep. There is no world in which you do not leave this series with 3 wins. It's unacceptable. I understand you could always lose a baseball game. That is insane. We're over a third of the way through the season, and they don't even have double-digit wins. You cannot lose a single game.
Antonio Senzatella started 11 games this year. He has 9 losses. Like, you can't get a no decision.
This team is wretched. I saw our boy Jay Hay here. He tweeted out, we know the Rockies are bad, but what's cool is that they are the worst in Major League Baseball in every phase of the sport. This was at this time last week, worst offense by WRC+, worst pitching by ERA, worst defense by DRS. So we have a fucking cloud of shit coming into New York right now. I kind of can't wait to see what they are exactly in person.
There's nothing they do good as a team. Like, just 0. Like there should be three wins. I'm not gonna say 3 easy wins. I'll take 3 1-run wins. Just get 3 wins.
Yeah. I'm looking at it now. They've won 1 game in the last week, which was against the New York Yankees on Friday. They won 3-2. So if the Mets do lose, and you get Yankees fans on the mention, but like you said, can't lose this series. They've lost. It looks like 9 of 10, or maybe 10 of 12.
They lose every fucking game.
They lose every fucking game. They did lose, and they lost in extra innings to the Cubs, and then they lost by 1. They lost by 2. They lost by 1. So they've been keeping some of these games close, but then that almost hurts just as more because you're still losing it when it matters. 9-47. Kyle, you said the White Sox had 15 wins by this point last year?
Yep.
So, I mean, we're dealing with
disparity in the league. The fact that we've had the Oakland A's to then the White Sox to now the Rockies, there's teams are just getting worse somehow, some way.
And the worst part of it for them is they can't pick higher than 10th in a draft next year because you can't be in the lottery. I think it's 2 or 3 years in a row, depending on your market.
So oh my God, this is fucking incredible. So we got Kyle Freeland first game, 0-7, 5.86. Then we have Antonio Senzatella, 1-9, 6.5 ERA. And then we have Carson Palmquist, 0-3, 8.78 ERA. I mean, those are as much must-win games as there are for a team. Like, this was like what happened in the White Sox last year when we faced the White Sox at home, and it was like anything less than a sweep, because at that point we needed every win to make the playoffs. Anything less than a sweep is going to feel like a series loss for sure. So I'm not even – let me see. Is there any – is like Charlie Blackmon still playing? Like, who's
– Nothing retired. He was the glue keeping them together.
Because
like even the White Sox, like, okay, Shane Smith is like a 2 ERA on the year. Games like that happen. The Rockies have fucking nobody. Where you're like, how the fuck did they win?
They said that they don't even have like major league players.
They don't.
Equivalent of like the minor league guy who gets to play professional baseball because you're on the Rockies.
Marty tried out for them in fucking March. He can make the team now.
That picture of him with the jersey on is good meme potential here. I gotta see that. Bosco, you froze for a second. Look at you.
I freeze all the time. No, they should have kept CJ Cron.
Yeah, hard to argue that. I'm looking at Hunter Goodman's leads the team in at bats. He's 276, their catcher, 7 home runs. Ezekiel Tovar is a name that I think my kid got a bunch of his baseball cards, and he was, I think, all right for like maybe his rookie season. Jordan Beck, Brenton Doyle. I think these are like young guys I've seen on the fantasy waiver wire, and I'm like, maybe I'll give this young guy a shot because they play in Colorado for half their games, but no one's really has crazy numbers, even with playing half their games in Colorado. And it's a butcher shop in the West, right? Like you're facing the Padres, the Dodgers, the Diamondbacks, and the Giants. So
yeah, that's the other thing. At least like last year, you're like, oh, the American League Central was so bad, but the White Sox still lost a bunch of games. Like the Rockies, they like a quarter schedules versus like playoff level teams.
Man, I wonder if anyone's just been betting the Rockies this year. That feels like the fucking move. Is just betting is that now you'd be a little scared, but at least to start the season, trust the data. Where the fuck was Clemmer on this telling me to bet against the Rockies?
His pick tonight is the Rays.
The
versus
Rays?
The Astros.
Okay.
Although his pick of the days have been kind of bad. I think he's like 3 units under.
This is not touting Chris Clemmer's picking ability in the least here. Clemmer's been talking a lot of shit about the Knicks, and that's going to take us into this could be our final Knicks recap, and that is brought to you by our friends at DraftKings as we're talking about betting on baseball. We've hit the sweet spot of the baseball season. Every pitch counts, everyone matters, and every game can shift the standings. This is what DraftKings Sportsbook was made for. From same-game parlays and live betting to odds boosts and more, DraftKings has you covered from first pitch to extra innings and every moment in between. New to betting on baseball? No problem. You just start with something simple like picking your favorite team to win. It's quick, it's simple, and it makes every inning that much more exciting. And for first-time players, DraftKings is serving up a can't-miss offer. Bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins, which I think is the most we've offered here, as Bosco was saying the other night. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code BELIEVE. That's code BELIEVE for new customers to get $300 in bonus bets when you bet just $5 and your bet wins only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. That's code BELIEVE, BELIEVE. So you bet on your baseball, and then you throw on the New York Knickerbockers, who tip off tonight the game is scheduled for 8 o'clock. Bosco, you got to be one of those anti-fucking NBA 8:15 tips.
Yeah, TNT is better than ESPN, I think. But, yeah, I don't know. At this point, it's like, what? You can't fight every fucking battle, you know? I know Dave's breaking my balls like, you got to put Whitney under fire and do this. Like, I can't fight every battle, man. I got to pick one.
That's fair. Now let's go to someone who does fight every battle. Phil, how are you feeling for the tonight's Knicks game?
I think they win tonight, but Saturday, if it gets that far, I'm not that confident. Like we're on life support. But I said today, it's like there's 27 other teams that would wish they were in our spot. So you just got to play till we can't play anymore.
Yeah, I mean,
I was more broken after game 1 than I was after game 4. Game 1 was like breaking me. Game 4, it's just like acceptance. Like it's just what it is.
Before we went live, Kyle and I were talking with Pavs, and we were talking about we were trying to compare like the Cat trade. Was it worth it, or if we had kept the guys? And I said how moving that trade was as much about moving Randall's salary because he was essentially going to opt out since he didn't resign, and we lose DiVincenzo. And I was like, it hurts. And I was trying to compare who DiVincenzo was for like the Mets. And I think we settled. I originally said Ty Wigginton, which felt like a little bit of insult, but I think it's more like Wilmer Flores, where we love him. He could put up the numbers, but it's also like he's not a perfect player, and you do see the warts come out. I mean, the fucking Timberwolves just got their doors blown off, which honestly could happen to whoever wins.
That's the other thing that's making it easier because OKC looks like they aren't going to lose another game. Like they just, like we said, they could be one of the most dominant teams ever. Like if you start looking at stats, like 80 wins before the finals.
If Aaron Nesmith is giving Brunson this much trouble, I can't even fathom.
Like Lindor,
those freaks of nature, Caruso, Dort. I mean, even Shea could play deep. Like all these fucking guys, and then the whole system. And we don't even run an offense. We just run in circles and hope our guys can bail us out. Right?
They just don't give minutes to bad players.
And they have a draft pick, a lottery pick, who they haven't even.
They have a guy that they drafted last year, Topic, that hasn't even seen the court this year.
Yeah, Ev was saying that. That's the stash guy. It's unbelievable.
That's the stash guy, and that's before they have their like treasure trove of picks that they could dip into over the next few seasons. So, I mean, listen, if God forbid it ends tonight, tomorrow, whatever for the Knicks, we're all KC fans. I think that goes without saying. Fuck the Pacers forever. We were also then comparing. I said, DiVincenzo was kind of it's kind of the Wilmer Flores of the Knicks at that point. And I said, game one of this series is almost like game one of that Yankees-Dodgers World Series, where it's like every time you're doing the math, you just think, we should have won game one. And it all comes back to there, right? And shout out Freddie Freeman for being a fucking saint. But it was the same kind of thing. Unexpected win, you lose. And granted, ours was at home. But that was Bosco. I said that I haven't felt the way I did after game one since Reggie Miller was doing that kind of stuff. The 8 points in 9 seconds. I had this feeling in my stomach. It was like emptiness and like just hollow. And then just like pain slowly went in. And then you just feel like party was just ripped apart. That's exactly how that game went. And I don't think I've never felt it before. Maybe the Charles Smith game is the only other game I could think of. A game you think you have in the bag, and then you lose, and then you could all trace it back that this is the moment we lost the series, if it happens.
100%. I mean, it's such a swing, too, and you're on the highest of highs, and the Garden's going berserk. Like, I thought we were fucking good to go, man. Like,
Yeah.
We were watching at the table at dinner, and with, like, 6 or 7 minutes left, things come out, whatever. I'm like, we're good to go. Like, it's good to go. Put it down, talking, glance back, pop it up, and you're like, what just happened here? Like, couldn't believe it. So, yeah, it's going to swing the series, because I think we'll win 5, and then it'll I think we win tonight. And instead of being able to close out 6 there, we're going to, potentially lose 6. Like, it's at
the same time, though, it's like game 3, we came back from down 20. We didn't deserve to win game 3. You could point to game 2, I think, is more of like, if we're talking about barometer, it's like we deserve to win game 1, they deserve to win game 3. That's split.
Yeah,
game
fair.
2, it's like they should have outplayed them in the clutch, and they didn't.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, and it just feels like we've just been chasing them from behind when it comes to literally on the court, even the adjustments being made. It feels like they're making the adjustments. Tibbs is scrambling, seeing what works, and then they can then quickly adjust to that adjustment.
He sees what works like he did in game 3 and then doesn't do it in game 4. That's what happens. He's like, oh, wow, we won game 3 with Josh Hart coming off the bench, playing like actual bench minutes. It's like game 4. It's like, what happens? They play the same fucking starting lineup that gets cooked all playoffs.
Yeah, I was saying this could be our last Knicks coverage on the pod. I think even if they do lose at some point in the next 3 games, I think by the time it'll cool off the discourse, but I do think it's going to be Tibbs this offseason, followed by Cat. And I think Hart, just that last game alone, when Bosco did call it out from the jump, he's going to take a lot of heat for, the spacing and this and that. And is he a bench player? I think
I don't want to be a negative. I don't want to be a negative Nancy, but like Hart was a darling last year. And if this is the way he's playing, it's one of those where we thought he was a core guy. He's a roommate. He's beloved. Like if there starts to be some rust on that car, automobile outside or body, now you're like, oh fuck, like we got some issues here. Like as far as what we're doing building. Like you were like, all right, Brunson, Hart, Cat, Bridges. Like Bridges hasn't been terrific in spots. Cat's a liability, obviously, defensively, and now you're talking about Hart having problems too. It's like, fuck, dude. Like, how good are we? You don't want to be a negative Nancy, but it's like,
I did say for Game 4 my entire life for the last month is the Knicks are having the biggest game of my life, and Tyler McGill is on the mound for the Mets. I think if there's a Game 7, Tyler McGill will be starting versus the Dodgers.
Oh, God. That is fucking dark. And this is the thing about the Knicks that at the end of the day, I can't get like too angry about if they lose to the Pacers. And just because the Pacers, everyone thought they were, they weren't the 64-win Cavs and Boston's the defending champ who the Knicks beat, yada, yada. Like, fucking, first of all, Tyrese Halliburton's a fucking killer. And the thing that drove me the most nuts about Trae Young is people were anointing him the new Reggie when he had one good game against a bad Knicks team and he was just doing the antics. Tyrese Halliburton is everything that people wanted Trae Young to be. And I respect the fuck out of Tyrese Halliburton. I even respect the trolling. If we had a guy who did the Dame time, who did the choke, I heard he even did the Brunson 3. I didn't see that, but I heard he did the Brunson 3. Like, I would love that if it was a Nick who did it, right? If you did that, you're the villain. You fucking respect your cap. You tip your cap, whatever.
You got
to. These are good. People forgot how tough that series was last year, even if we were banged up for it. They're good.
Really good.
And like I said, Halliburton's highs as a player are so incredibly high. His lows, though, like he can no-show in a game where like 4 points, and that's where you start getting like the overrated stuff. It's like his highs are so good, and when he plays like that, you just have to respect it.
Yep, 100%. And the thing with the Knicks, why I'm not going to get too high again or too low, is I think they've played 16 games this playoffs, right? It went 6-6, and then we're through 4 right now. In those 16 games, I think we probably played better in 11, and I'm sorry, in 5 of the 16.
I said like we're a few possessions away from being a first round loss to the Pistons, and like none of this ever being happening. Like there's a world where we're losing 5 or 6 to the Pistons, and Tibbs is fired like a month ago.
Yeah, I'll say 3 Pistons games we played better, which might be 2, but we'll say 3. Obviously, Game 4 against the Celtics before Tatum gets hurt, I think they clearly were the better team. And then when they blew them out, that's 5. And then the Game 1 against the Pacers. So they've been the better team clearly, and maybe we'll say 6 of the 16 games. That's not a fucking NBA champion, especially when the guys on the other side of the bracket are fucking killers. So
really one of the best teams in NBA history, on the other side just waiting. Like
and the Pacers, to their credit, like they took care of the Bucks quick, they took care of the Cavs quick, and they could be taking care of us in 5. And they also came back. Like that's the thing. That game 1 was the craziest comeback I think ever. But the comeback against the Cavs and the comeback against the Bucks were also like top 5 or 10 craziest comebacks in recent playoff history. So this team is like. They also do blow a lot of shit, so we'll see if that comes. It would be incredible if somehow, some way, this Tyrese Halliburton choke revolves around a 3-1 choking, and we can fucking wear that as our own. We could then make choke 2.0 shirts in orange and blue for Vibs, but I'm not going to hold my breath.
We have games to play until we can't play anymore. It's just what it is.
Yep. And if any of the Celtics fans are getting here, they're very salty. They're very upset. It's better to be in the position we're in than there.
We all can't be Chris Clemmer, who's seen 18 championships in his life.
So whether you're fucking a Mets fan just trying to get through this fucking better be 3-game sweep, whether you're a Knicks fan trying to get to Game 6 and then Game 7, whether you're Chris Clemmer trying to get the New Hampshire Granite to the fucking playoffs for the first time, whether you're Kyle trying to make it through a weekend with a baptism, and Kyle, you counting all those weekends too? That was a Bosco movie. Like there's 17 weekends between Memorial Day and I could hear it in his voice almost when you said that.
Yeah, I thought it was 15. I used to remember.
I gave a little leeway to the second the weather breaks. I don't necessarily like summer is from Memorial Day through the next week after Labor Day in my book.
Till football comes, till NFL is back. So no matter who you are in all this, gotta believe.
Gotta believe.
Gotta believe.